I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but here I am. My name's James, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for over 10 years now. We have a son, Tyler, who's 12, and everything seemed fine. At least that's what I told myself. We had our usual ups and downs, sure, but nothing that seemed out of the ordinary. Lisa was always a bit bitchy when she didn't get her way, but that's just her personality. Still, I always trusted her, or so I thought. It all started about 3 months ago when Tyler started working on his science project for school. It's a big deal. Science fair's coming up, and Tyler was excited, asking me for advice here and there. Lisa was involved too, although I thought she was just there for moral support. The thing is, I noticed she became strangely obsessed with his project, asking about the variables, wanting to see his notes, even getting a little too eager to help. I didn't pay much attention at first. I figured she wanted him to do well, maybe reliving her own childhood dreams or some bullshit like that. But then I started noticing things. Lisa was coming home later than usual, and she'd have these mysterious evening meetings with her friends, which I never saw her invite Tyler to. She'd get defensive when I asked about her whereabouts, snapping, accusing me of not trusting her. Nothing out of the ordinary, I thought, just her being bitchy as usual. The real red flag was when I decided to surprise Tyler one night and drop by the garage where he's been working on his project. I wanted to see his progress, maybe give him a few pointers. When I got there, I didn't expect to see Lisa standing there, whispering into his ear, her hand on his shoulder, both of them looking pretty cozy. I froze, my stomach sank. They didn't notice me at first, but I saw the way Lisa looked at Tyler, the smile on her face that didn't quite reach her eyes. That moment I felt this cold wave wash over me. I wondered what the hell was going on, but I didn't say anything then. I just watched from the door. That's when I noticed the way Lisa kept glancing around like she was hiding something. And Tyler, oblivious or maybe just naive, was totally focused on his project. I saw that Lisa was holding a small USB stick, handing it to Tyler. That's when I got suspicious. The next day, I decided I'd check her phone. I wasn't proud of it, but I was curious. I knew I shouldn't invade her privacy, but something about her behavior felt off. I tried to look at her messages, but she'd changed her passcode. She always used to leave her phone lying around, but now it was locked tight. So I got creative. I went through her emails, her social media, anything I could find. Nothing concrete, just vague signs that she was hiding something. Lots of late nights, strange emails and messages from someone named Chris, which she kept deleting. I didn't even know anyone named Chris, but there were enough signs to make my stomach twist. I kept my cool, but I was simmering inside. I wasn't stupid. I knew something was going on, and I had a gut feeling that Lisa was cheating. I just didn't have proof yet. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing her. What hurt more than anything was how she lied so easily, spun stories about her business meetings and girls' nights, all the while sneaking around behind my back. I started paying attention to her routines, her little lies, and I felt like I was losing my sanity trying to piece it all together. One night I decided enough was enough. I set up a hidden camera in the garage, something I never thought I'd do, but I was desperate for answers. I figured if she was sneaking around, I'd catch her in the act. That night I waited anxiously. It was past midnight when I looked at the footage, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Lisa and Tyler's mentor, that science guy, Dr. Carter, the one Tyler had been talking about, kissing. Not just a quick peck, but full-on making out, sloppy and intense, behind the garage after hours. They didn't see the camera. They didn't see me. But I saw everything. The footage hit me like a punch to the gut. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There they were, Lisa and Dr. Carter pressed close against the wall, lips locked, hands all over each other. It was obvious they'd been at it for a while, and the way Lisa was moaning softly, yet I could hear her, made it painfully clear this wasn't just some innocent lab mentoring session. My stomach clenched, my mind spun. I felt numb for a second, then furious. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the footage over and over, trying to process how my wife, my partner, was cheating on me with someone I trusted to help Tyler. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just some fling. This was a full-blown affair. I had to confront her. But I also knew I needed to be smart about it. I wasn't about to blow up my life without a plan. The next morning, I pulled her aside when she got home from her girls' night. She'd been acting strange all day, avoiding eye contact, snapping at Tyler when he asked about dinner. I could see her trying to put on her usual bitchy mask, but I wasn't fooled anymore. I told her I knew about her and Dr. Carter. Her face twisted into this ugly sneer like I'd just accused her of the worst crime in the world. She spun her usual lies, saying, "Oh, come on, James. You're overreacting. That man is just doing his job. You're crazy if you think there's anything going on." I stared at her, my jaw clenched, feeling the anger boiling inside. I told her I saw the footage, that I knew she'd been lying for months. Her eyes flickered for a second, and then she started laughing, this bitter, sharp laugh. "You really think I would cheat on you with some science nerd? Please. You're so paranoid, it's pathetic. Maybe Tyler's just got a thing for older men, huh? Maybe I'm just helping him in his project. You're jumping to conclusions." I felt my fists tighten. I wanted to scream, tear her apart right there, but instead I kept my voice calm, cold. "I saw everything, Lisa. The kissing, the touching. Don't lie to me anymore. I need the truth." She rolled her eyes and threw her hands up. "Fine, you want the truth. Yeah, I've been talking to Carter, so what? It's just sex, James. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not leaving you. I just needed something more. You were never good enough for me anymore." I was bored and I found some excitement. Big deal. That's when the shock hit me. Again, I couldn't believe she was so brazen, so completely unrepentant. That was her clarification. Just sex, no feelings. She didn't care that I'd found her out. And the way she said it, so bitchy and dismissive, made me realize how little she thought of me or what I felt. I stayed silent after that, feeling my world shattering. I wanted to yell, to do something, but I knew I had to keep my composure. Inside, though, I was boiling. I was hurt, furious, betrayed at a level I'd never experienced before. I started questioning everything. Our entire marriage, the years I spent building a life with her, the trust I thought we had. I didn't sleep that night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of it all crushing me. I knew I had to decide what to do next. But right then, I just sat there, numb, trying to keep myself from breaking down completely. I felt like I had been hit by a truck, and all I could do was wait for what came next. The days that followed were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and every time I looked at Lisa, I saw the lie behind her eyes. She kept insisting it was just sex, that she was bored with me, that she hadn't meant to hurt me, but I knew better. I knew it wasn't just the sex. It was the fact that she'd lied, cheated, and dismissed my feelings like they were nothing. That hurt worse than the affair itself. I spent hours thinking about how to handle it. I couldn't go on pretending everything was normal. I started digging through her things, trying to find more proof, more clarity. That's when I came across her phone again, this time unlocked by accident. I saw her messages with Carter, flirty, suggestive, full of innuendos. They'd been talking for months, planning secret meetups, exchanging pictures, and even texting during the day while I was at work. It was all right there. It was a punch to the gut. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was emotional, mental. They'd been building some secret world behind my back, and I was the fool for not seeing it sooner. I felt like I'd been living in a bubble, believing in this fake version of my wife, thinking we had a solid marriage. All along she had another life, one she was actively hiding from me. I knew I couldn't just confront her again and expect her to come clean. She'd spun her lies, and now I had all the evidence I needed. I decided I'd need to plan my next move carefully. Not just to catch her in anything else, but to make her understand I wasn't going to be taken for a fool anymore. I also knew I had to think about Tyler, how to tell him, how to protect him from all this mess. That kid's innocence is the only thing that kept me going some days. One evening I finally sat her down when she came home from her book club, a damn excuse she kept throwing out. I showed her everything, the footage, the texts, the emails. I asked her point blank if there was anything else I should know. Her face twisted into a show of anger and defiance. "You're really going to do this, James? You're stalking me now? Grow up. Carter's just a friend. I swear you're so paranoid." "It's just sex, like I said. I don't even like him that much. He's just convenient, okay?" I looked at her, disbelief boiling inside me. "Convenient? You've been cheating on me for months, Lisa. I saw the videos, the texts. You're lying again. I don't know how you sleep at night, but I can't keep pretending anymore. Her eyes flashed with contempt. You're so insecure, James. Maybe if you weren't such a shitty husband, I wouldn't have looked elsewhere. Grow a backbone, will you? That comment pushed something inside me. I felt a surge of anger and sadness all at once. I couldn't believe how she could be so dismissive, so callous. I told her I wanted her out of the house, that I needed space to think. She scoffed and said I was overreacting, that I was jealous and insecure, but I knew I was. I knew the truth now, and I didn't want her lying to me anymore. The shock was slowly turning into a kind of cold resolve. I didn't want to be the guy who got betrayed and just took it lying down. I wanted to make her pay in some way. Not physically, I'm not that kind of guy, but I wanted her to understand what she lost. I was hurt, yes, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I realized I had been giving her too much leeway, too much trust, and it had all been a mistake. I promised myself I wouldn't be a fool again, not ever. That's when I started planning how I'd handle the fallout, how I'd get her out of my life for good if that's what it came down to. The following days were the hardest. I moved into the guest room, trying to keep my cool, but inside I was a mess. Every time I looked at Lisa, I saw the woman I thought I knew, but she was just a stranger wearing her old face. Her attitude was worse, snapping, bitching, trying to guilt-trip me into staying silent. She kept insisting it was just sex, that I was overreacting, and that she never loved Carter. But I knew better. I had seen the truth on that footage and those texts. One night, I decided I had to do something drastic. I wanted her out, but I also wanted her to suffer a little for what she'd done. I knew I needed a plan to make her realize that her actions weren't just some innocent mistake. They were damage that couldn't be undone. I started gathering all the evidence I had, screenshots, recordings, everything, and stored it somewhere safe. I wanted to be ready because I knew she would deny everything when push came to shove. Then I started playing her at her own game. I manipulated her by acting like I was still buying her lies, pretending I didn't know the full extent of her betrayal. I kept asking her questions, seeing how far she'd go to deny the obvious. She kept insisting Carter was just a lab mentor, just helping Tyler. I told her I was done believing her lies, that I'd found everything I needed. That's when she finally snapped. She shouted, called me crazy, said I was spying on her, and accused me of being paranoid. She told me I was just jealous because I wasn't satisfying her anymore. Another lie. I didn't even bother arguing. I just sat there, silent, feeling the cold rage simmer inside. I knew I had to act soon, or she'd find a way to spin this all in her favor. I had to make her understand that I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. One day, I arranged everything to confront her. In front of Tyler. It was a calculated move. If I was going to end this, I wanted my son to see what kind of woman his mother really was. I sat Tyler down, told him I loved him more than anything, and that his mother had been dishonest with us. I didn't go into specifics at first, but I told Tyler I saw her sneaking around and that I was hurt she had lied so much. I told him that honesty and respect are what matters most, and that I was going to fix things for him if not for us. Lisa was furious when she found out I'd spoken to Tyler. She stormed into the living room, yelling, calling me every name in the book. Her face was red with anger and frustration. She kept insisting she was innocent, that I was ruining everything, that I was overreacting. I looked at her and said, "If you're so innocent, why don't you explain these?" I pulled out my phone and played the footage of her and Carter kissing. Her face went pale and she froze. For the first time, I saw her stumble. That's when I knew I had her. Cornered, she tried to deny it, but I had enough proof. I told her I wanted her out of my house by the end of the week. She started crying, screaming, saying I was ruining her life, that I was overreacting, but I didn't care anymore. I was done being naive. I decided I'd finally take control of what was left of my dignity and my family. I told her she could go, and I wasn't going to chase after her. I wasn't going to beg or plead. I was just finally done with her lies. The week that followed was like living in a nightmare. Lisa refused to leave easily, throwing tantrums and trying to guilt me into changing my mind. She's always been good at that, playing the victim, crying, accusing me of being the bad guy. But I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. I had the evidence, I had my decision made, and I knew I couldn't keep her around pretending everything was normal. I contacted a lawyer just to get the legal stuff sorted out, knowing I had to protect myself and Tyler. It was clear Lisa wasn't going to go quietly, and I had to be prepared for a fight. Meanwhile, I quietly started packing her things, just in case she decided to escalate things. Every day she'd come home, try to charm me or lash out at me. But I stayed calm, distant. I had already made up my mind. I was done with her bullshit. One evening, she finally packed her bags and left. Not without a lot of screaming and cursing, but she left. I watched her walk out that door, feeling a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. Part of me felt victorious, like I finally took control of my life again. But another part was devastated, haunted by the memories of everything she'd done, the trust we'd lost. Now I'm here trying to rebuild. Tyler's been upset, confused, trying to understand why his mother suddenly vanished. I've been honest with him, just enough to tell him that sometimes adults make mistakes and hurt each other, but that we're going to get through it. I don't want him to think this is his fault. It's not. It's her choice, her betrayal. Looking back, I realize how naive I was to trust so blindly. I thought our marriage was solid, that we had something real. Turns out I was just another fool. I learned that sometimes people hide who they really are right under your nose, and it's brutal when the truth finally comes out. I also learned that revenge isn't about hurting her physically, but about reclaiming my dignity, my self-respect. I don't regret confronting her, showing her I wouldn't be played for a fool anymore. I guess the biggest lesson is that trust can be fragile, and when it breaks, it's almost impossible to put back together. But you can survive. You just have to be willing to face the pain and accept that some betrayals change everything forever. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I'm done with her. And honestly, that's a kind of freedom I've never felt before. Now, I spend most of my days trying to rebuild what's left of my life. Tyler, with me, and we're doing our best to move forward, even if it's just one tiny step at a time. I've learned to trust my instincts more. Never again will I ignore the signs or dismiss my gut feelings. Trust, I realize now, is something you have to earn every day, not just give freely because you think you're safe. Looking back, I see how blinded I was, how I let her manipulation slide, how I convinced myself that maybe she was just stressed or bored. But I also see that I was the one who stayed silent when I should have spoken up, the one who overlooked the subtle signs of her discontent, of her lie. That's on me, and I accept it. It's a lesson I won't forget. As for Lisa, I hope she figures out what she really wants in life. Maybe she'll regret what she lost, or maybe she won't. That's her journey now. I don't hold any bitterness anymore, just a quiet sense of closure. I've learned that sometimes the only way to truly move on is to accept the pain and use it as a shield for the future. I don't regret uncovering the truth. It hurt like hell, but in the end, it freed me. I'm not the same man I was when I started this mess, but I'm stronger for it. I value honesty more than ever now, even if it's ugly or painful. Because what I've learned is that living in a lie is worse than facing the truth, no matter how brutal it may seem at first. So to anyone out there in a similar boat, trust your instincts. Don't ignore the signs, no matter how tempting it is to look the other way. Confront what's wrong before it consumes you. And when the time comes, have the courage to face the pain head-on. Because at the end of the day, the only way to heal is to accept what is and move forward, no matter how broken you might feel in the beginning.